Nicole, yes, what do you want? I'm reading my book. Do you know what month it is? I think it's October. Do you actually know what it means? Oh, it's the month of pumpkin spice, duh. Yeah, no. The new Sabrina the Teenage Witch is coming to Netflix. Do you remember we wanted to binge it? No, it actually means that you missed your cue on a wrap-up video that you promised to do a month ago and it was already late. Hey everyone, it's Nicole and I'm feeling incredibly guilty. It's October and I have not posted my July and August reading wrap-up video yet. I've been postponing it as far as possible. I just realized that I don't like making wrap-up videos because it takes a lot from me. They are the most hard videos that I film because I want to include as much information as possible, so you won't need a review for every single book because reviews are even worse. I am dedicated today to actually film and edit and post this video. Wish me luck. It's 3 p.m. and I really want to do it. The first book that I'm going to discuss is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. I'm very late to it because it came out a year ago and I wanted to pick it up then, but I've been hearing a lot of crap about it, so I thought I'm not going to waste my time. But then I posted a poll on my Patreon account asking my patrons to choose a book that I'm going to read, and they chose Uprooted by Naomi Novik, which I didn't mind at all because the new book in the series is coming out and I was kind of interested because people that said that they disliked Uprooted loved Spinning Silver. I picked up Uprooted, I was very hopeful, but this book is a train wreck. I've had to force myself to sit and read it, and usually it doesn't happen with me, especially because I drop the books that I don't like and I don't read them till the end, but since it was a Patreon book, I had to read it. I also had hopes that it's going to get better. The story is about a girl named Agnieszka who lives in a tiny village, and every few years the dragon, who is a powerful wizard that protects this village, asks for a girl to tend to his needs. Agnieszka is pretty confident that her friend, that is an extremely beautiful girl, she's very smart, very talented, very capable, is going to be chosen. And because it's her friend, she has a very dual feelings about the situation. From one hand, she doesn't want her to lose her friend and she loves her very much, but from the other hand, she's happy that it's not going to be her. And when the time comes, the dragon appears in the village, and instead of choosing her friend, he chooses her. And Agnieszka has to go to the castle. So that's how the story starts. Many people in their reviews say that this novel has a very fast-pacing plot, and I wouldn't say so. I'd say that this novel has a very odd pacing because at certain moments we get so many unnecessary descriptions, and at other moments the action just snaps one after another and we don't get the time to breathe in or breathe out, whatever you're doing when you're reading a book. I had to force myself to read where the author described every single thing about the way Agnieszka was dressed, or every single boring thing she had to do in the morning. But that is something I could live with. The thing that actually bothered me is the dynamic between Agnieszka and the dragon, and the way it developed, because it did grow into something else, but I will never accept something like that. At first, obviously, they're not friends, and there's no way they could be because the dragon is God knows how old and Agnieszka is a young adult. She was just separated from her parents and from the life that she is used to have, and she has to serve the dragon to make him food, to alleviate his moods, and at first she even thinks that there is going to be some sort of a sexual dynamic between them. Weirdly, even though their dynamic was pretty much employer and employee or teacher and student, there were still a lot of sexual undertones. It reminded me a lot of the Hermione and Severus Snape ship that some people actually do really like, and it makes me very uncomfortable. Many times during the first part of the novel we see how the dragon is constantly trying to control Agnieszka. He changes her outfits, he cleans her up, he tells her what to do and what not to do, and he's constantly trying to mold her into something that is going to be acceptable in his eyes, and she's going along with it. We get a lot of scenes where he steps into her comfort zone without asking her, where he pushes her around, where he's very close and whispering into her ear, which is very concerning and weird. Add this to the equation and we get a very toxic DS relationship, and by DS I mean dominant submissive. Not only Agnieszka didn't agree to that, it is also made worse by the fact that the dragon is so old. As we go further into the story, it changes the relationship to a romantic relationship, and it actually shows that Agnieszka finally discovered her powers and finally is her own person. But the foundation of their relationship doesn't call for romance, and it felt completely out of place, it felt dirty, it felt cringy. That's everything that I'm going to say about this book. The only thing that I loved was the evil forest, which was deliciously terrifying. And I loved the friendship that Agnieszka had with her friends. After this I wanted something fluffy, cute and nice, and I wanted to let my eyes rest a little bit, so I picked up Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. It is everything. I am so obsessed with the series now, and I actually need to thank Cici from Problems of a Book Nerd for introducing this to me. It's about a boy named Billy who starts his first year in college and gets into a hockey team, which is something he didn't think that he's going to do because he was actually a figure skater earlier and he's not into brutal sports. He loves cooking, he's very sweet and good-natured, and it's not very sure how it's going to play out. He also has a vlog channel where he cooks and talks about his life, and it's basically how we observe him. It cured my acne, it replenished my crops, it made me feel so many feelings. He starts at the hockey team and everyone is very welcoming, even though he's not very good at hockey yet, but he's a great skater. And he starts getting friends, but there's this one boy named Jack who doesn't accept him. Jack is the star of the team, but he's experiencing some troubles with his game, and he has a conflict with Beatty because Beatty somehow manages to play well from a certain point. And it's about their relationship and how this relationship grows into something more, into a friendship first and then into a romantic relationship. It's like the most wholesome thing that I've read this year. Then I picked up The Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Foley Doyle. That's a mouthful. I enjoyed some of it and I didn't like some other parts. Mostly I didn't connect with the writing well. I wish it was more succinct and more close to reality. Think The Raven Boys on speed. This is a story about a group of characters that live in the same town. One day a few of them discover a spell that is going to retrieve the things that they lost, and they cast it. And all the people in this town start losing things. I really enjoyed the concept, I loved the vibe of the story, but I didn't connect with that writing, and I'm a little bit upset about it because if only it was more to my tastes, I would have loved this book. The next book I loved, I gave it 5 stars, and I think it's going to appear in my 2018 favorite books. It's Juliet Takes a Breath by Gabby Rivera. It's about a young girl named Juliet who is Puerto Rican and who lives in Bronx. She's obsessed with the book that was written by a woman named Harlow Brisbane. This book helped her discover her womanhood. it was about feminism and it was the first time she heard about it. She writes a very personal and very long letter to Harlow, and the woman invites her to Portland to be her intern for the summer. I don't want to spoil much from this book because it's a very important and a very well written book. I'm just going to say that the main theme of this book is white feminism and how certain movements can be very exclusive to people that don't fit the mold. And it's also about family and chosen family and dynamics between people that do not believe in the same thing. I really, really loved it. I loved every single thing about it. I think that Juliet is a fantastic character to tell the story from. I want more people to read it. I genuinely do. I was in the mood for something romantic, so I picked up Cinderella by S.T. Ling, and I expected a lot from this novel. So I was quite disappointed. Not to say that this novel doesn't have a good message, it does. I just think that it's very short, underdeveloped, and follows the fairy tale too closely to be very engaging and interesting. It is a retelling of Cinderella, as you may guess, and it follows a black trans woman as a protagonist. I enjoyed the idea, and I think it's a great point of view to develop through the classic fairy tale lens. I just thought that this novel didn't have enough meat, and I wished it wasn't such a blatant retelling. That's everything that I've read in July and August, which is not a lot of things, but I've read much more in September and October already because I suddenly got into audiobooks. If you read any of those books, tell me in the comments down below and tell me what you thought about them. If you want to recommend me a book, you can do this down below too. I'm very much into mystery at the moment because it's Halloween season, and I hope you are having a good day. I'll see you soon with my next video, but until then,